Welcome back to AstroFic, your dose of relatable, fun astrology content where we apply astrology to fictional characters to find out why they're like that. I'm your host, Celeste V, and this week we're talking about Maysilee Donner. Don't you just love a girl that kills? I love a girl that kills. It's a genre to me, and it's one that I hold very dear, and it's one that I resonate with very deeply. Obviously Maysilee Donner is a twin, so like up top, actually, let me address this. She's a twin, so her chart will be almost exactly the same as Maysilee. However, rising signs are calculated based on time of birth, so they could have different chart makeups if they were birthed a significant amount of time apart, or even a little bit of time apart. It just depends, I could definitely see them being naturally born twins that are born like 20 minutes apart. You know what I mean? So that would most likely give them different rising signs. However, the two of them got a Virgo stellium. They got a Virgo stellium. So let's start with the first Virgo placement, which is of course her sun sign. I'm gonna resume only talking about Maysilee. Her sun sign is in Virgo, of course. Little taste of another part of her chart. Her moon is in Gemini. Don't you love it? And then her rising is in Virgo. Yeah, double Virgo up top. Of course. I don't know why she gives such Virgo energy, and I love it. I love it. I really do. So here in this Virgo first house, we're going to spend like a majority of the episode in this house, and I'm low-key on like a time limit, so I gotta keep this to the notes, and like that's it. So sorry, Maysilee, love you so bad, queen. She has a Virgo stellium, bro. She has a Virgo stellium. Worth noting that even though they're twins, I already said this actually. But yeah, this is worth talking about a little bit more. I've seen twins that have different chart makeups even though they were only born like 5-10 minutes apart. The rising signs change so quickly that like if this was a natural birth as opposed to a C-section where they're more likely to have the same birth time or like just a minute or two apart, it's very likely that the twins have different rising signs. So whatever I say for Maysilee could be very different for Maysilee, but we don't know because we don't know that much about her. But they will have like the same planets in the same signs, but they might not have them in the same houses, basically. So you can't just copy paste whatever I'm going to say here about Maysilee to Maysilee, because their charts may very well be different. And if I were going to do Maysilee's chart, I would give her a different rising sign. Just saying. So let's talk about her sun. Let's talk about her sun. Why don't I enunciate, bitch? Anyways, I just feel like she's weirdly self-actualized in a way. She just knows exactly who she is and what she wants and refuses to compromise on those things, which is why her sun is in the first house, exactly where it wants to be. This cohesion might make others think that she's full of herself, but that's not the truth or heart of the matter, because knowing who you are does not dissuade others from discovering and expressing their own authentic self. It's why so many queer elders say that living authentically as you is the best thing that you could do. Virgo is the maiden. It is not an aggressive or hard to like sign, and it wants to make others feel at ease and likes to have things taken care of. This is why it's so easy for Maysilee to dedicate all of her training time to make sure that all these kids don't die feeling alone and uncared for. There were so many little ones in their games. I think because it was double tributes. There were so many children, like true, literal, honest to God children, barely in middle school, if that. And I think it's really sweet. and very Virgo and very maiden-like for Maysilee to spend all of her training time helping them with their trinkets. Next planet is we're still in Virgo. The next planet is Venus. Venus Virgo. I love Venus Virgo. She puts herself first for sure, but it's not like she has a chance to grow any kind of romantic relationships either. She seemed pretty girly. Was she Wallawa? I hope so. I hope she was a lesbian. But while it's not her first instinct, it's quite easy for her to spread love to others by just being herself. Again, case in point, the trinkets. She can also be fiercely protective, and so her natural instinct being to save Haymitch not once but twice speaks to how deep their bond was. And I think she's the same way with Maysilee. She's definitely the kind of sister to be like, who made you cry? And then go push and punch the person who made Maysilee cry. You know what I mean? Like, that's the vibes. And it's so cute. It's so lovely. Last placement in Virgo is Jupiter. This is why I think that she had such a strong sense of self. Jupiter expands her understanding and sense of self. Mutable energy means this understanding can be subject to changes, but in earth signs, especially Virgo, it's unlikely she'll change any of those like core values, those foundational things. Mostly what she understands is the minutiae, the details of who she is, and the intricacies and nuances of her life. But I think it'd be hard for her to get like a big picture of who she is, like what other people would see on the surface. And she's not particularly interested in that, and she's not particularly interested in making others understand her nuance and her intricacies. So I think she's very touched when Haymitch goes out of his way to do so, to learn about her and who she is, and to even go so far as to say that she was like a sister to him. Oh, what if this episode makes me cry, you guys? I'm ill. I'm sick. Okay. She does not have anything in the Libra second house, but she has 2 placements in Scorpio third house. So first we have Uranus in Scorpio third house, and my first note here is the slap heard round the world. That was a generational slap, bro. Third house is the house of communication, and I think physical actions and facial expressions are a part of that. I wrote, is that why I have such a horrible poker face? Aries third house. Whatever, dude. Anyways, so I think that her slapping the fuck out of Drusilla is like, it's so prime. It is definitely not like what a tradish Scorpio third house would do, but in Uranus I feel like that impulse control that Scorpio has as a fixed sign is kind of gone, and it feels a little bit more like Aries does, kind of unhinged. This also makes me wonder if maybe the Donners weren't always merchant kids, because like the third house is the area you live in and where you travel as well, and Uranus typically implies that there's like a big change, a big shakeup in this house, usually multiple times over the course of a life. So I'm kind of like wondering if her dad did some like sneaky dealings to get his merchant business off the ground or something like that, and it didn't take off until they got a little bit older. You know what I mean? The other thing I have here is her Chiron in Scorpio third house. Chiron, the wounded planet. The wounded healer. It's not a planet, it's an asteroid. I'm so sorry. I honestly think this has something to do with her and Maysilee kind of having an us against the world dynamic going on. There was obviously something that triggered that more than that they were just twins. At least that's what I think. So like I think that something triggering happened in their childhood that made Maysilee create this idea that it was her and Maysilee against the world and they needed each other. I actually don't know if it originated with Maysilee or Maysilee or both of them, but either way they grew this codependent mentality. And not to be terribly depressing, but something about this being in Scorpio also makes me think of separation, of how her and Marilee were torn apart and separated forever by the random factor of life. Sorry if that's depressing. Has no idea how to move on. The fourth house would be in Sagittarius, and she doesn't have any placements there, but she does have 2 placements in the Capricorn 5th house. First one being her Mars. Tally on the board, I guess. I also have a Capricorn Mars. This is an exalted placement, and I gave her an exalted Mars placement because I think Maysilee knows exactly what she's doing at all times. Her method of surviving in the arena was absolutely fucking genius. She couldn't have pre-planned that, you know what I mean? She is so wicked smart and quick. You know, Katniss is smart, but Katniss is slow, unfortunately. Maysilee knew she wouldn't have a chance in hand-to-hand combat and got very creative in a very intelligent way, using the arena to her benefit. And again, she couldn't pre-plan that. Also, this placement is not that quick to anger, usually. A lot of people compare Maysilee to Joanna, but Maysilee doesn't read nearly as angry as Joanna did to me. And maybe that's because we meet Joanna after her games and after she's already lost everyone she loved and she's like grieving, you know, like this is the way that she grieves. But Maysilee was acting very simply unbothered, which is a very Capricorn thing. She was acting that way on the outside because her pride and her being able to keep it cool is important to her. Again, this is like a Capricorn trait. Capricorns are never going to show you their emotions because they feel like that makes them lose some of their social clout. And they need to keep a cool, calm demeanor as they move through stressful situations, because Capricorn thinks everybody looks up to them, and low-key everybody does. Let's be real. She also has Neptune in Capricorn in the 5th house, and if you listen to the Lenore Dove episode, she has the same because Neptune is a generational planet. But for Maysilee, she feels kind of the opposite of Lenore Dove. Her creativity is not as deep and expansive because her 5th house is actually in Capricorn, unlike Lenore Dove, who had her Cap Neptune in the 3rd house. So Lenore Dove's 5th house, which is the actual house of creativity, was not restricted by Capricorn's Saturn rulership. A Cap 5th house feels very restrictive, but like you're more capable of navigating complex spaces in order to achieve your end goal. Also, Saturn in general is not very creative, and so her and Haymitch's poster ideas being so teenage melodramatic was very par for the course. Just saying. She has no Aquarius placements in the 6th house, but she has 1 Pisces placement in the 7th house. It's Pluto. Can I be honest, guys? I hate talking about Pluto. I really feel like next season I'm gonna cut a bunch of these planets. We're only going to be talking about Sun through Saturn. No more Chiron, no more Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, all gone. These episodes are long. They're very long already. I really should just whittle it down, you know. Pluto and Pisces in the 7th house. I think her relationships really make or break the quality of her life, to be honest. Without strong foundational relationships, like she has with Maysilee and Astrid, she would not have been as content in her life as she was. Yes, she was scared, but she was able to keep her chin up because of all she knew who were watching her and how they looked up to her. She didn't want their last memory of her to be one that she would be ashamed of. You know, she didn't want them to see her cry and beg for her life or anything like that. She wanted to be strong for them. Which is kind of anti-Pisces, but I don't know, I think that Pisces can fit into situations in whatever way it's needed, and for them, she needed to be strong. I think that she's not as strong when she's with Haymitch, because Haymitch carries some of that burden for her, because he likes being the strong one for his friends and family, his loved ones. Okay, so that was the 7th house in Pisces. 8th house in Aries, no placements there, surprisingly. We do have one placement in the 9th house in Taurus, which is Saturn. Tally it up, baby. Is it fan service to give some of these people the same Saturn that my generation has? Maybe, who cares? She's got a Taurus Saturn in the 9th house. You can expect her to find most challenge and resistance with things associated with getting older. So that would be like worldview, life philosophy, higher education, world travel, and exposure to alternate cultures. These are all things that the 9th house rules over. You can see her resistance to alternate cultures with the way that she feels about and treats capital citizens, although it should be noted that this comes from being the subject of their oppression also, which is a very Saturnian related thing too. I think Saturn in the 9th house in general can point to a state of oppression from society at large in your life. Yeah, she's just, obviously she struggles with things associated with getting older because she does not get older. It's so sad. The Hunger Games is so sad, you guys. I can't wait for McKenna Grace to absolutely fucking rip my heart out of my chest next November. Okay. Moon is next. Her moon, as we very briefly noted, is in Gemini, and it is in the 10th house. I couldn't let the twin character go without giving her at least one Gemini placement. What kind of astrologer would I be? I think having her twin house in the 10th, her twin placement in the 10th house makes sense. It's a defining point of her social standing that she's a twin. It's literally like if they don't know anything else about Maysilee Donner, it's that she is a twin and her twin is Maysilee Donner. Or maybe they know Maysilee and they don't know Maysilee. You know what I mean? Also, I nannied a child with a Gemini moon, and that experience really does give Maysilee vibes. Like, I really can't explain any further than that. It's just so Maysilee. Gemini moons, in my experience, tend to need a very private and secluded area to express their most vulnerable emotions, whatever that may be for them. It's not always like sadness or crying for people, you know, sometimes it's anger. But once they do that, they'll usually come back out into the world like nothing ever happened. And I think that's like kind of true with Maysilee. Like, she'll really act like nothing happened, even though Haymitch is like, I feel some type of way about it because he's a Cancer. I think also she really relied on Maysilee to help her process her emotions. The twin thing, they're codependent. We've discussed this. She really needed Maysilee for everything. You guys, this is so sad. This episode is not that long at all because talking about Maysilee Donner too much makes me very sad. And also, I don't have that much time to do this. I'm so sorry that this is so short. I really wish I really mean it when I say talking about Maysilee Donner for too long makes me too sad. If I think about her for too long, I really do start crying. I'm being very brave by doing this episode. I have tears in my eyes right now. Okay. All right. Enough of my complaining. This is her last placement. I'm so sorry it's over so quickly, you guys. And it's in the 12th house because she doesn't have any placements in the 11th house of Cancer because she's not like Haymitch. She's fiery. She's feisty. She's got a Leo Mercury in the 12th house. No, this is fine. Oh my God, I got so scared. I was like, wait, can she have a Leo Mercury? Because the last placement we talked about was Gemini. It's based off the sun sign, not the moon sign. Everything is all good because she's a Virgo sun, which is right next to Leo. So she has a Leo Mercury. I know someone with a Leo Mercury. Feistiness is kind of the trademark. So quick-witted, like so much more quick-witted than you'd think of a fixed sign. I fear Leo Mercuries are way more quick-witted than Aquarius Mercuries. Like Aquarius Mercuries are quick-witted, but they'll say something that like you need to take like days to process, you know, so it doesn't really hit in the moment. It's kind of a delayed reaction, a delayed response. But with Leo Mercuries, their wit is understandable in the moment and it's devastating sometimes. In the 12th house is why her drag cuts so deep. She clocks things you don't want her to notice or say out loud, but Leo does not give a fuck what you want or think. It doesn't give a shit. And I think that's so funny. I think she's very funny. Yeah, rip Maysilee Donner. I think you would have loved a lot of things. I'm so sad, you guys. This is really painful for me. I can't think about Maysilee Donner again until the movie comes out, I fear. Anyways, that's so sorry it's so quick, but that's the episode, you guys. This is what it's like when all I do is read off my notes. And it's way easy for me, but I feel like it might be less enjoyable. I don't know how long people want the episodes. I should do a poll. If you go to the Substack post for this episode, you will find a poll there asking if you like the long episodes or if you like the short episodes. So let me know. I want to do what you guys want. Sometimes. Plugs. Please check out links in the show notes. Find my astrology page on Instagram, astrofic.jpg. Find the Substack, the AstroFic Substack. There's a lot of free posts on there. I literally haven't put any paid posts on there because everybody's a free subscriber. And everything that I want to post, I'm like, I want to give this to everybody for free. But I really need to like start transferring some files on there that I said behind the scenes stuff that I said paid subscribers would get. So yeah, please go sub to the Substack. LOL. As of posting this, there will be a new blog post with a summary of the bi-weekly transit from Sunday, May 18th, all the way through Saturday, May 31st. So go check that out. It will be on the Substack by the time this episode is live, I think. So go check that out. It'll be great. You'll love it. I think that's all the plugs. Okay. You've been listening to AstroFic, your favorite astrology podcast, hosted by me, Celeste V. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, Please don't forget to leave a rating or review. If you're one of our new YouTube listeners, please leave a like and a comment. We'll see you next time. Thank you. Love you. Bye.